Backpack Broadcasting continues to bring you the best original sports content, but now you can get more of the content you love. For as little as $3 a month, you can get access to bonus content, including behind-the-scenes footage and interviews from the Sports Walk, Sideline Stories, or the Ain't Hard to Tell podcast. All this exclusive content comes via Patreon. There are tiered levels of patronage, and each Backpack Broadcasting patron receives exclusive perks. Your support helps Backpack Broadcasting create more of the original content that you love. Visit Backpack Broadcasting's Patreon page and become a patron today. Ain't Hard to Tell Podcast, episode 68 from the Gotham Podcast Studios. It's Dexter, Henry, Bryan, Fonseca. We are back. I know it's been a while.
We're back.
Yes.
That's the key thing.
I know. It's been a while.
See, you guys can blame me for that because we were going to come back a week earlier, but I got a bad fever. Like, I got slapped with 182-degree fever. I was like, I'm not going to come in. I mean, 102.
I was like, yo, I don't think you'd be living. I don't think you'd be here.
Not 182. But I was like, yo, I'm not going to come in and get Dex sick because...
You talking about you wasn't going to come and get sick. I wasn't going to come in and get sick. Like, I wasn't coming anywhere near... I told him to. He told me tonight. I was like, yo, man, don't get me sick.
Because we went through that in a previous episode, but I wasn't really sick. I just had a little
And
cough.
I didn't get sick. I didn't get sick.
Right. But this one, I was like, yo... It was a Thursday night. I had gotten it, and I was good earlier that day or whatever. Like, I was active or whatever, and then later on, I just started feeling like weird and lazy and tired, and I was on the bed and I needed a blanket, so I was like, yeah, it's coming. And what I noticed was that a couple days before that, I went to interview somebody for the story that I'm doing. Yeah. So I went out to the school, interviewed him or whatever, and I was like fatigued that day. Like, before I did that, and then my energy went up. But at home, I was just tired. I didn't have a fever or anything. I didn't feel sick.
That was probably the beginning of it.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. That was probably the beginning. Yeah. And then Wednesday, sort of the same thing. I was at a Nets game. I was covering the game, and I was a little fatigued that day, but I was fine. And then Thursdays when it really hit, and then that weekend, I was just cooked.
I was like, yeah, you don't need to be near anybody. Damn sure didn't need to be near me. Like, nah, man. Like, for people out there, if you're sick, respect your coworkers. Yeah. Respect the people you work around. Don't come to work. Yeah. Don't come to work.
Especially if you're in a field like ours where everybody's trying to get it. Everybody's hustling and trying to get to that next level, and you don't want to mess it up for everybody. So if you're at home, just stay home.
You know, one time I had the flu, and I was working for a previous employer. I won't name their name, but because this will show you how how do I say this? How much they truly didn't care about their employees, okay? So
I'm trying to figure out
I was sick, and all I can tell you is I was supposed to go to a Nets game to cover this Net game, and the Nets were playing the Cavs.
I have an idea of who the former employer is.
And the Cavs, LeBron, this is when LeBron was on the Cavs. This is within the last couple of years.
Okay.
And Prince William and whatever part of the royal family was supposed to be here in Brooklyn at the game. So this company wanted me to make sure I got video of this. I felt horribly sick, kind of like you, 102 fever, barely couldn't get out of bed, blah, blah. Hit him up, was like, yo, I am not making this game.
Yeah.
They actually tried to have discussions with me about.
They tried to negotiate. Like, yo, are you sure? Are you really feeling that bad?
No, you can't make it.
Yo, America's got everything messed up because, like, the fact that we talked about this before. The fact that we have sick days is stupid. Like, if you're sick, you're sick.
Well,
you shouldn't have an allotted amount of sick days.
Shout out to my current employer, AccuWeather. I don't have an allotted amount of sick days.
Yeah, if you're sick, you're sick.
If I'm sick for more than 3 days, I have to provide a doctor's note. But there's no allotted amount of sick time.
That's understandable.
Yeah, it's totally understandable. I think it's reasonable and extremely fair.
Yeah. So that might be serious.
Yeah. Shout out to the employers doing the right thing out there. But for your point, the most part in America, that isn't how it works for a lot of people.
Because think about it. If a lot of people, most people are working class, right? And they're scared of getting sick because it's like, oh man, now I might not make money.
Yeah.
Like for me, for example, I don't get paid.
Or if you freelance.
Yeah, exactly. I'm a freelancer. I don't get paid time off.
Now,
so if I'm sick, I'm screwed. Like that whole weekend, I was like, I can't do anything.
And sometimes I understand a freelance worker that actually has to go out there and be sick. And I wasn't trying to throw any shade to that person because sometimes I actually get it. Sometimes I've had to work sick, I've done it before. I try to be respectful if I'm going to be around a lot of people or not.
Yeah, absolutely.
This job I was talking about, I was actually a full-time employee, and they were very upset that I could not make it there. Like, well, this is huge. This is the Raw.
Get somebody else.
Let me tell you something. The Raw family ain't going to take care of me when I'm sick or I'm up in the hospital with pneumonia or whatever.
And also, do we really care about the Royal family?
Clearly, they did.
I mean, I don't. I know you don't. No,
I don't.
No offense, but like, look, take offense. I don't care.
The job, I understood why it was important in terms of this job that I was doing.
Yeah.
But the problem was, I was like, y'all got to find a freelancer. Let's just say they weren't too thrilled about it. Let's just say this guy here didn't really give a damn. Because one thing I say all the time, nothing comes before my family and my health when it comes to work. There's no negotiation for me on that.
Especially in a country where a lot of people again are working class and don't have those benefits, and on top of that, they're sacrificing their health in a lot of instances to try to get those benefits because people are trying to work sick all the time because if they don't work, they don't eat.
Yeah. And,
America's got it messed up, man.
Look, man, you should never have to compromise that. I understand sometimes why people do, and I feel my heart, like you're saying, goes out to the people that have to. But let me tell you something. Your health is the one thing you have. You got to take care of your body. So when you're sick, please rest your ass. Rest your ass. Ain't nobody trying to get sick around you. Just stay home and rest. I told Bryan to do that. Yeah. He got better.
Yeah.
He is here.
Yeah, I'm good now. And coming off a big month of February for both of us.
I know.
I would say you got some things going at AccuWeather. I got some things going with
some good things going.
We're slamming MSG now.
Well, February wasn't that great for black people in general overall. We talked about that in the previous episode. It wasn't that great for black people.
But we're over here.
I was doing okay.
Adding to the resume, so we weren't just away for the sake of being away.
Yeah,
what I mean? Just building some things.
There's things going on. Shout out to Bryan.
Can add a couple big brands now.
And for the people who didn't know or would say it on the podcast, Bryan is now on the People Talking Sports on MSG. You can catch the first episode?
The first part of MSG Shorts. It's on YouTube right now.
Yeah,
so you can go to MSG Networks on YouTube. More of what we shot should be coming in within the next, I guess, few weeks or so.
Yeah.
Because we shot a lot of cool stuff and a lot of conversation was made. Shout out to everyone else I worked with on that. It was good.
Yeah, shout out to
saw myself on TV for the first time.
Jennifer, how'd that feel?
It was interesting. It was kind of weird. It was kind of weird. Not the first time because I actually was on TV before. So my brother found this baby when I don't know if I told you the story, but when I was 11 years old, my brother found this baby in a trash bag outside of my house. This is a serious thing, right? It was alive. The baby was alive somehow, but he found it, and this was the day after I had like my senior trip for 5th grade. We went to Six Flags or something like that.
Okay.
So I was just home. I was just off, and he found it or whatever, called the cops. All the news stations were at our house.
Of course.
So you see me on TV, I'm like dribbling a basketball outside the crib as they're showing, they're doing a close-up.
You were that kid trying to be on TV in the back.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
See, I haven't worked in local news.
That was strategic. I saw where the camera was. Listen, this is how you know I was born to do this. I saw where the camera was. I saw where the camera was. I got right. Not where I was thirsty about it.
I don't like those people.
Not where I was thirsty about it, but I was 11 years old. All right.
I don't like those kids.
I was like, I did it at an angle. You know what I mean? And then I just kind of acted like the camera wasn't there. Like, I knew what I was doing. But shout out to my brother because he found that kid.
Shout out to your brother doing it and all the media attention he had.
He was in the news and everything. It was 11, 47, 3, 5, 5, 2, every channel.
You were there trying to get your shine on in the back. The people that try to get their shine on in the back of shots,
they're the worst.
Act like that we don't know.
I know
you're trying to get your shine on.
But I was 11. Man. I was 11.
No.
A lot of the people you're talking about though that be doing it, they're like 41. Look, it's different.
You know what? I'm trying to think my age cutoff. It's like 9. At 11, you know exactly what you're doing. You know,
admittedly, I did. That doesn't mean that's why acceptable. I wouldn't want my future child to be doing that. Yeah. But if you want to get it off, get it off. Like, it was cool.
People make too much about being on TV. They do. They make too much.
No, it 100% is true.
Like, everybody's got to wave. But people got to give shout outs, which, have I ever told you about what I say about people who give shout outs? What I used to start doing?
Yeah. No. Wait, what did you start doing?
When I was working for News 12, sometimes we do word on the street. We'd ask people all these different stuff. Or you interview somebody about whatever. So, like, something happened with your brother. We go there and do the story.
Yeah.
Somebody would be like, yo, man, can I give a shout out to whatever? And I first used to be like, oh, God. And I would let people do it sometimes, but I wouldn't be rolling. They wouldn't see that the red light wasn't on the camera, so I just wouldn't do anything. But then I started telling somebody, I'm like, nah, man, that can't happen. I was like, yo, let me ask you a serious question. You've watched the news for however many years in your life, whatever. You ever seen anybody give a shout out?
You actually talk to these people? Why
not? Well, I'm talking to them to ask them to get a question. So I'm trying to, I was like, yo, let me at least put them on to why this doesn't happen.
Right.
So I just asked them questions like, yo, have you ever seen anybody on the news ever give a shout out?
I actually like your first option better.
And they would stop.
Where you would have them do it and it would just not be rolling.
Nah.
Some of them would catch on.
Sometimes people be going too long and it's a waste of time. And I realized that doesn't work. You're wasting my time. I could be on to something else. So I wasn't doing that. Nah. Like, that wasn't going to happen. So it's like,
I like when we come in and we're like, what are we going to talk about? And then we just go
No, you're not going to waste. I used to do it at first and be like, I'm being nice. People feel. And I'm like, I'm wasting people's time. I'm giving them a false sense of hope.
This is what happens when you get older and more experienced.
They're going to go home. They're going to look at News 12 and they're going to be like, yo, that dude didn't even put me on TV. For my shout out. I don't want people seeing me in the streets as a dude who's not letting you put your shout out on.
Word, you don't want to. Nah. You don't want to be the black reporter with no street cred.
No, so I'm like, yo, I'm the reporter that's going to tell you exactly what it is. So I'm like, I ask you a simple question: have you ever seen anybody give a shout out on TV? Which anybody who's listening to this podcast or watching knows. Nobody gives shout outs on the local news. It doesn't happen. It doesn't occur.
Right.
So
but on Revolt, you would probably get away with that.
Yeah, but this ain't Revolt. What we're doing. So they'd stop and they'd be like, yeah, I've never seen that. I'm like, yeah, man, because we can't do that. So the thing is, I was putting it on them to come up to realize it doesn't happen.
Do you see that anywhere but award shows now that I think about it? Grammys and stuff like that?
This ain't the red carpet, man.
That's what I'm saying. This is the only place you probably see it. And you don't even see it there that much because a lot of those people just kind of want to be seen and not heard.
I don't understand why people... Look, I understand you want to give a shout out to your moms, but this is not what we do on the local news station. This ain't what we do on a national news station. I don't think anybody's asked me to do this while working for AccuWeather yet. Usually we're talking about weather. I feel like you should be giving a shout out.
I was gonna say you haven't. Obviously you've interviewed a good amount of people, but you haven't interviewed that many people to the point where usually you're interviewing them about serious stuff. So
yeah, sometimes not so serious stuff. Like the other day, I was just at an outdoor NYCFC game. Shout out to NYCFC for letting me do that story. It was pretty dope. Yeah, and those people. That was light and fun. Just how you playing in the cold weather and stuff like that. Somebody on Twitter said that.
Is that a tease for what's to come?
No. That story's already out, so that was it.
No, but I'm saying like the bigger picture of what you're planning to do.
Oh yeah, there's some other stuff that's coming out. Some sports and weather stuff.
So we're not gonna talk. We're not gonna.
Stuff's working.
Okay.
And there's some other stuff around with NYCFC and some other stuff that's coming out. But somebody said to me, "Yo, you should next year." They put me they hit me up on Twitter and was like, "You liked your piece, but next year you got to play in this 24-hour game." NYCFC had this dope thing where they did this 24-hour game at Rockefeller Center. They have a soccer game that goes on for 24 hours, 5-on-5.
I heard
People
about
come in and rotate,
yeah.
And they're out there in the elements and doing it. So and someone's like, "Next year you got to play." I'm like, "All right, next year I will. I'm score some goals too."
You know where you're gonna be at the point soon where you're gonna have to participate in like celebrity all-star games, like if they have a celebrity soccer game.
I don't know if I'm there yet. I don't know about that.
Getting there.
I don't know about that.
Getting there. Listen, once Twitter Twitter verifies you, it's over, and they're gonna have to verify you soon. They're gonna have to do it this year. They're gonna have to verify both of us.
Well, I will tell you that the verification for me should have actually happened this past week, but it didn't happen for reason. I'll explain this off air. It was a mistake in submission. On part of mine.
They're just disrespecting.
No. It's a long. Jobs can submit people. Long story is they submitted my wrong account, and it didn't have something that needed to be done. So my account that's linked that I do all my AccuWeather stuff didn't get verified. It will be soon though.
Okay. So it has to be. It has to be.
Yeah, it has to be.
It has to.
It doesn't have to be. They're gonna put the blue check next to my name.
Yeah. I'm saying like I should have one already, but I don't for whatever reason.
I feel like I should have one already.
But like I don't know. I'm about at 4,000 followers too.
Yeah,
I should have way more though, to be honest. Like I'm not even trying to like sound like that dude.
Nah, you are sounding like that.
Because I legitimately do not care about follow count that much. Because
yes, you do.
No, not that much.
Yes, you do.
Not that much.
You're Bryan Fonseca. Yes, you
what
do.
does that mean?
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
About follow counts? Not necessarily.
You care about? Well, no. Let me clarify some things here. I think you
Here
care about. No. Hold, this. You're gonna know exactly where I'm going with this. I think you care about follow count. I don't think you care as much as some people that go the extra to do things to lie about their follow count. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
there's a clear difference.
People in certain circles have bought followers, and we may or may not have talked about this.
Oh, we've talked about this. So Bryan's not one of those people because Bryan does not like. I don't say he doesn't like those people. He doesn't like those people. To throw an old school term out there, faking the funk.
That's the exact term I was going to use.
Say.
Yeah.
Some of our younger listeners may have never heard that.
I mean, Biggie just passed, so it's only right.
Yeah.
I mean, not but just passed, but his anniversary just passed.
All right. This took a very wild time. We went from like sickness to like people on the street.
But it's true though, like people that buy followers, they're trying to get ahead of the game in the cheapest way possible. And then they tweet out a bunch of dumb shit so that they could like just stupid takes so that people could just retweet it and reply. I just
want the people that like are
I'm not gonna mention
buying
names.
The followers. I'm not even.
See, you know what I noticed too about beefing with people? Like back in the day,
I don't
you
beef
could
with anybody.
But here's the thing: back in the day, you could mention their name, and it'd be cool. Like not cool, but you could mention their name and actually be involved in a beef. But now, because of social media, you can't really mention them because then you're giving them a jump. You're giving them benefit. If I mention someone I don't like, then people are gonna go search for that person. And then they're going to find out, oh, who's this person? Start following him, whatever.
No, I hear what you're saying.
Whether or not they harass him is another thing. But
I hear what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying? Like now you can't mention people. You have to throw subs. You got to do, other stuff.
I don't have. I don't like that, man. I see stuff all the time.
I want to beef with people and be able to say their name.
Why do you want to beef?
No, I don't want to beef with people. But I'm saying, if I did, I would want to beef with people and be able to say their name.
You can. You just have to deal with everything else that comes with it.
Say
the name.
Yeah, if you're both established, then I guess it's a little different. I'm not really established yet.
Sometimes it's funny because I was having this conversation with somebody else in sports media the other day, and sometimes you could beef with people, and they were saying to me that you have to like actually weigh like whether it's worth it. Sometimes even when you're right, and you could bring all that smoke and be right.
No, that's so true.
And
I've had to pick my battles.
Yeah, and sometimes it's what I think Bryan and I are saying too. Is sometimes it's you see other people in the profession, in the media, doing things that are wrong. I'm going to show you something when we go to podcast that I saw this morning, and I was like, oh, no. Yo, man, this person's doing right here, nah. Like, and people were calling the person out for their tweet to something. And here, I'm going to explain what it is. People are going to want to know. I'm going to explain.
I just tilted my head sideways for those listening.
Someone I know in the industry, I've actually done work with this person, had a tweet in which somebody tweeted at them and said, why do they keep using the name of the Washington football team, which we all know was offensive, and the name is Redskins.
Right.
So they were pretty much asking, why do you keep using this name?
And there are some people
when you know that it's wrong.
There's some people that have outlawed the name too, like Dan Levitar, Bomani.
I'm one of the people who I'll say Washington football team.
Yeah, I do that.
I only said the name here to explain it for the people who might not know what the name is.
I do that as well because I've learned of how offensive it is.
If you don't understand why that's offensive, then you could look at how offensive it is to Native Americans.
It's very easy to research.
And what was done and why the term exists and what was being done to Native Americans and why that term exists, extremely offensive. Nobody should use it. It should not be a team name. I think we've said this before in this podcast. I don't think that needs to be mentioned. I thought the question that the person brought up to this person in sports media was fair. Right? Yes. Fair question.
Okay.
The person responded and said, it's factual because that is the name of the team. And I can use it if I want to because I'm saying this person said this to the other person.
Yes.
This person in sports media, you're not here to tell me what I can or cannot say. I'm saying what is factual. Now, it's true it's factual, right?
That doesn't make it okay.
It's also true and factual that people have said a lot of racial slurs to other people right?
Yeah.
Doesn't mean it's okay to say it, right?
Yeah.
Like, just because something exists and it's factual that people do it doesn't mean it's okay to say it. Some other people came later in this comments and commented on what exactly I felt. I would like to be clear on something. The person that said this was not a minority. The person who said this was not Native American. The person who said this was a white male. Dominating our industry. Somebody came out and called them out and said, what you just did here is the epitome of white privilege. And they're right.
Yeah.
What you just did here is somebody said to you, hey, this offends a group of other people. And you just said, so what?
Yeah.
I'm going to say it. Whatever.
Yeah.
Now, I know this person, I could call them out for this, but I thought about this too. I still think it was great we got to talk about in this podcast and say it because I think people should know.
Yeah.
Me calling the person out serves probably no purpose. They're probably just going to get defensive. I haven't felt like jumping to say anything on Twitter, but I kind of know how those things work. So that's not what
Nuance
it is.
Could be lost. And things like that. And if you know the person, it's probably better to hit them up privately.
I would probably do that and be like, yo, man. And I probably will do that and be like, yo, man. The points those people were saying, probably, but you might want to check your privilege here.
Yeah.
Like, I don't talk to that person like that in that way anymore, but they may be ignorant and might want to think about what it is. Or, here's the other part. They're a white male in the media, and they did something that has white privilege, and since there's a lot of other white males in the media that look just like them, nobody else is probably really going to call it out, which is part of the reason why maybe someone like myself should come out and be like, bruh, maybe you need to think a little bit more about this.
You know, I might have that once a week where I sort of pick my battles on Twitter where it's like I should probably, or not that I should, but like I could say something here, but I probably shouldn't, so I'm not going to.
Most times I realize it's not worth it.
Yeah, I always try to weigh like, is the upside greater than?
Sometimes it's good, and sometimes it gets into a good discussion. Like the one time I talked with another colleague who I talked about on this podcast. We actually ended up talking about the conversation about the whole college basketball being better than the NBA.
We'll probably revisit that because it's March.
Yeah, and the coded like racism that was behind that. And you know, myself and this person, colleague I knew for a long time, we had a public discussion, then a private discussion about it, and it was fine. There was no problems with it. I just felt that was kind of a point.
But that's also, I would say that's a rarity on Twitter. Like you don't always get the conversation. Like you guys know each other. But here's the thing that's dangerous about Twitter also is that you guys could have this discussion, but then other people could jump in, and then the message really gets lost.
And that's why I was kind of glad at some point we took it private. We were having, and it wasn't heated or anything like that.
Yeah, it was just a couple tweets
back and forth, and we took the conversation private. And the person understood where I was coming from and was saying that that's not where they were coming from, but understood what I was saying was I just felt at the time and point maybe I felt like this too about this thing with the Washington football team is that sometimes a point needs to be made around a larger context of something that we don't spread these ideas because nobody ever stops and challenges it. And maybe publicly, if some other people see it, that stops those ideas from spreading. So shout out to those people that responded and brought up the term about things about white privilege. And there was one other Twitter poster who actually responded and had a quote from a Wisconsin Badgers basketball player who is Native American and talked about why that term, had a quote about why that term was offensive and posted that quote to the tweet. And I thought that was good because that needed to be out there. People need to see that more. I don't think we think about that enough. And seriously, the fact that team still has that name in 2019
and that the owner
ridiculous.
And that the owner is doubling down behind it.
And
every turn.
How about the league? How about the NFL not caring? Have they shown to care about it? Well, they've shown not to care about a lot of other things.
I mean, that shows you that see, and this is why players like to sort of segue. This is why players like Antonio Brown are sort of taking matters into their own hands and trying to control as much power that they feel like they have.
Antonio Brown just traded to the Oakland Raiders.
I was going to say, for those of you who missed it, because I actually woke up because I knew how early we were getting up to go today. I went to sleep.
Early.
I went to sleep.
I wish I had coffee in this cup, man. I
Right.
don't drink coffee like that.
I don't drink coffee ever, which shows you how weird I am. I don't drink.
That's not weird. I'm just kind of person, I didn't drink until I really had to. Like doing the job I do now, I get up early. Now I do.
I don't. I just kind of get up and hope that I'm like, okay.
Get up and hope for the best.
Yeah. I don't. That's the thing. I don't drink coffee or alcohol or like anything.
It's not a bad thing.
Just water, orange juice, milk.
Coffee has
lemonade.
I'm not dependent on it the way some people are, and they go crazy.
That's why I don't want to start. You know what I mean? Because I know how my mother is. I've seen her in the morning.
First of all,
like she needs it to function. And I don't want to get to that point. I feel like people get, you know what I'm saying?
It has to be a day.
Shout out to my mom.
I didn't get enough sleep, or no. And I mean, I understand what she's got there. It's just,
I mean, but she's been getting up really early for years. You know what I'm saying? So
but Antonio Brown.
Yes. So while we were sleeping at least, because this happened right after I went to bed, I woke up and I see that he tweeted himself in a Raiders uniform, #Raider Nation. I thought he was just messing with people again. Like, I thought he was just, like, starting to put out a bunch of uniforms that he could be in and things like that. Maybe you'll see a Bills one. Not a Bills one. Of all the teams.
Oh, can we talk about that?
Hold on. Maybe we'll see a Jets one or whatever. So then I look at the timeline, and then I just see the Raiders one, and then I see Ian Rappaport and Adam Schefter and everybody saying that this is pretty much happening. Yeah. Maybe for a third and a fifth. And I was like, oh, he's going to the Raiders, the same place where, interestingly enough, Jerry Rice and Randy Moss sort of wound up and did not much. So I don't know how this is going to go, but I find it more interesting, not from a football standpoint, but probably from the same vantage point that you have in terms of what does this mean for player power in terms of NFL players trying to act like, NBA players. And maybe Antonio Brown's recent appearance on The Shop has to do with that.
Which I still haven't watched, but
it's okay. I have issues with that show.
We'll get to that. I do think it's interesting that I thought when Antonio Brown had these, first of all, there's a couple things. It's kind of interesting with the Antonio Brown thing. One of the things I find interesting in the coverage of it,
that he needs to get rid of that mustache first and foremost.
Well, yeah, that's a whole nother thing. What I find interesting is a lot of Antonio Brown's issues that stemmed in why he wanted out of Pittsburgh, a organization that generally doesn't have a lot of players saying they want to get out of there.
Mm-hmm. Now they got two, their best two.
Yeah, well, they messed up the first one, Le'Veon Bell.
Yeah,
they look. I understand it. Because the way the running back position is going, but also understand Le'Veon Bell wanting to get paid. The problem is just this is what you have in the economic situation that exists in the NFL. With Antonio
and if they had him, they would have made the playoffs.
Yeah, I probably agree with that.
Yeah,
I want to have Steeler fans. I got to talk to my Steeler fans.
You got them.
A lot of them.
A
lot of good friends who are Steeler fans. And our homegirl is a big Steeler fan, and I got to hit her up and be like, how's she feeling about this? Because I haven't really. I know how she felt about the Le'Veon thing, but I haven't really talked to her about this. Antonio Brown. The problem was he had issues with Ben Roethlisberger and the way he felt disrespected. And I feel Ben Roethlisberger, among other things in his career, has skated by on this. Again, has skated by on. Look, Ben Roethlisberger has skated by on things that, I will say this, black players, if they did what he was even accused of doing with women, would not have skated by in the NFL.
Latinos either.
Yes, that too. Let's just put all minorities there. Would not have skated by.
I just want to say that because I got to.
I have black Steeler fans who I know who know this and don't feel good about this. They know this, okay?
Yeah, and he just avoided the social media takeover, so that's why people sort of forget about it. But like that's something that, as you alluded to, is very serious.
Yes,
if you don't know what it is,
and there was a lot of smoke and gun stuff there, and. Whatever.
Yeah, and we ain't talking about the motorcycle accident.
No,
people.
We ain't talking about that. Look at do your research.
Yeah.
Antonio Brown had issues with him and the respect and the way he was treated, and I feel like Ben Roethlisberger. And I don't watch a lot of NFL coverage, but I've talked to some people who would know certain things about this and agree to that he has skated by on this.
One of them will be on the podcast soon.
Yes, well, a couple of them will be on the podcast soon.
Excited for that.
He has skated by on this and has gotten away. Antonio Brown hasn't been happy. Antonio Brown was making demands, saying that he wanted out, using social media to push this message. The problem is the NFL player does not have the leverage the NBA player has, but they want it.
They're trying to create it.
Players like Antonio Brown, they want it. Mm-hmm. And somebody's got to start pushing it, right? They don't have the freedom they want it. Let's take this another step forward into where we're seeing this. You saw Giants Landon Collins, safety.
Yes.
He did not want to be franchise tagged. He decided and was reported by Josina Anderson, the homie, decided that she reported that he was cleaning out his locker.
Yeah.
The Giants tried to come and say that that wasn't the case. But then found out at the Combine, the Giants came out and said, we will not franchise him, tag him, because that's not what Landon Collins wanted.
Landon Collins also said, because someone later said that, he left some stuff here, though. And then Landon Collins said, everything that's there, I don't need it.
And it's, yes, I don't need it. Which was funny because there were other people that tried to refute Josina's report. Mm-hmm. And then Landon came and gave that tweet, and that actually showed to be true.
Yep.
And I found that funny, the people that refuted the report, but ended up being wrong. And that's a whole nother story there. But that was another example of a player trying to flex and being like, yo, I'm not here for this franchise tag thing. I hate the franchise tag. For people may not know. I don't like it. I don't think it's good. The people have had some talks about bringing it to NBA. No. The
WNBA has something similar.
I don't like it.
Yeah, the WNBA has something similar where they core players. So it's basically the same thing. I think Minnesota did it or was going to do it with Maya Moore, and as we know, she's not playing this season. And Tina Charles has it with the Liberty, so she's going to be back with them this season. Yeah, maybe
I still don't like it, but
I don't love it there because they don't really make much.
And so for some reason, people was like, well, that may help those players in the WNBA who don't make much, but I'm like, I don't see how it does because you're still restricting it. I don't like restriction of movement. Right?
Exactly.
Like you should be tied.
Oscar Robertson didn't fight for players to be restricted.
Right.
In fact, fought for the opposite.
You should have. Look, contracts are good. Sometimes they protect both sides in certain things, and I like that, and that's fine. But you should have your time and your terms, and then when you have your freedom, you should go. And if a team isn't doing what they're supposed to be doing to build around you, etc., you should be able to do that. Somebody shouldn't just say, "Hey, we're going to tag you with this price." Yeah. For this year, just so we can keep you and use your talents while you're in your prime and you can't get the most guaranteed money you can. This is what Le'Veon Bell was fighting for.
Exactly.
This is what Landon Collins now is trying to fight for. And I think the players, to your point, I don't know how you feel, Ryan, it seems like they're starting to be empowered. How empowered they are right now, I'm not so sure.
It takes a while. It takes a while as we learn. I mean, the NBA didn't become this overnight. It took players a while to realize it. You're seeing, more guaranteed money in the NBA than ever before. I mean, like virtually all the money is guaranteed, but not necessarily because you still have your options here and there. But you're starting to see bigger contracts, and the guys who are, especially the guys near the top of the profession, they're making a lot of money. But even back a few years ago when the salary cap really went up, you saw guys like Chris Middleton cash out and things like that. Like NBA players fought for all those things. And LeBron has been very vocal about these sort of things too, and he's somebody who's been able to get things done. Antonio Brown is obviously at least on some level a friend of his. So I feel like they're trying to sort of go by the same model. I think the NFL's gone through a lot to where you're going to start seeing more and more players sort of have these discrepancies with the owners and things like that. Because,
but see, here's my thing.
Will it get anywhere?
It's only going to get somewhere, in my opinion, if when it comes to the next CBA discussions, are the players going to really stand on some issues and be like, yo, we don't want this no more. No, that's what it's going to come down to, because the thing is, you got to go against very powerful owners. That's the only way things change. You have to really, here's what we know. To your point, NBA, we know, has been more progressive as a league with the owners, the management, everything.
And I don't believe the
commissioners, right? Yeah. I don't believe the NFL owners are that progressive.
Here's the thing. Close to that. You know what the NFL needs? They need quarterbacks to sort of be involved in this.
Yes.
That's what they really need. They need like Russell Wilson, I think, has an expiring contract coming up. I think they're trying to rework his contract. But the thing is, those positions are being taken care of.
Right. So what incentive do they have to fight? Right? Mm-hmm. As much for the guy. When you have LeBron and these guys in the NBA, sure, they're getting the top salaries and the max salaries, and they've learned how to maximize their flexibility. But their fight did actually benefit the guys in the middle, right? Who might not be the stars. Look, they got people even overpaid. They got Joakim Noah paid. But they got Timothy Mozgov paid.
Here's the thing too. There's also issues within the sport where, in terms of like, basketball players are just more valuable by nature because there's 5 of them out on the court, and it's the only sport of all the major sports, other than I guess hockey, where you're playing offense and defense.
Yep.
You know what I mean? In football, you're only on one side of the ball, at least on the NFL level, And on top of that, guys are more replaceable just because, you have systems.
Well, baseball you can too, but the problem is you're not minute to minute. You're not as valuable.
Baseball,
on
there's like 11 minutes of action or something.
Right, so it's not the same. That's what I'm saying. Minute to minute, you're not as valuable on both. You're not as integrated.
Where basketball, the ball's in your hands, like late in the game.
Right.
Like, if you really wanted to, if you were playing Green Bay, you could hold the ball from Aaron Rodgers for the last 5 minutes of the game. And then all of a sudden, he's not as valuable as he would be if, LeBron James was on a basketball court. You know what I mean? Like, it's different.
All good points. I agree.
And in basketball, let's be honest, you have better messengers there. Antonio Brown, his heart's probably in the right place. I'm not sure he's the right messenger. Especially, listen, man, I'm not trying to judge people by their looks, but that damn blonde mustache, man.
You saying nobody's going to take him seriously?
Like, no, it's not even that. It's just like he's almost doing too much, where he's speaking out to the point where it's like, I'm actually surprised Oakland traded for him. Just because.
No, why? They're Oakland.
Right. Well,
this is what they do.
Fair enough.
They want to get that kind of
Fair
guy.
enough, but they have who? John Gruden and Mike Mayock? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I didn't think that they were going to be the ones to make that move. But regardless, I just think that with Antonio Brown, it's not somebody like, I don't know. There are probably better messengers in the sport out there.
But see, it takes somebody. He has a platform. He's got a ton.
But he's not wrong.
No,
he's also
not.
doing a lot in terms of like he aired out a lot of stuff on Big Ben. Where the shop, he had a sit down on ESPN that was actually really good. Where they talked about it and they got a little bit closer to his roots in Miami because this is someone who grew up with, a very, very difficult childhood.
Yep.
A childhood that, frankly, a lot of kids we know don't make it out of. You know what I mean? So Antonio Brown requires nuance and a little bit of understanding. But that damn blonde mustache, man.
I mean, fan of it or not, I guess
keep coming back to that.
I'm the
It's
kind
like,
of person
yo.
that's like, it might be distracting to most people, but I'm like,
I'm kind of joking on the mustache part.
But
what I'm saying is, like, overall, I feel like there could be better messengers. But look, someone's got to kick the door down. You could argue that it was Colin Kaepernick. I don't know.
I think part of that helps, but I think that somebody who's also one of the highest paid at their position, when they're saying like no, they're trying to influence their power, that does help too.
Let me say this too. Let me add this because I just thought about it. It'll look better maybe with time. So if Oakland has a good season, if Oakland makes the playoffs, Derek Carr's rejuvenated and things go well and they're 10-6 and maybe they win a division, if all that happens, they're probably not going to win a division because Kansas City's there. But if all that happens, maybe, people start listening up. Maybe things start to happen because Antonio Brown created sort of a better situation or helped create a better situation
I
for
still
himself.
think much doesn't happen until we get to the CBA. It really comes down to that.
When is that for the NFL?
And if it's,
I want to say it's within the next few years.
I think it's like 4 years or so.
It's coming up.
It's coming up.
We also have to pay attention to Patrick Mahomes' contract situation.
But here's the thing.
I'm sure that I'm sure they're gonna take care of him. But like, yo, I think whatever he's gonna get, he can get more.
I think you're right about quarterbacks having to step up on this front line. They haven't had the incentive to do so.
That's the issue.
The problem is the NFL has never had. They haven't had a serious strike since the 80s, practically, where people were like, "Yo, we're not going to work. We're willing to sit out the season." It doesn't seem like the players are willing to do it, and the problem is, I think a lot of it is where the owners have the upper hand. It's like, yo, your career is short. You sitting out here, you're wasting time and earning potential. Excuse me. And most guys aren't really, I think, have shown really willing to ride for that. You need some players that are going to ride for this and say this system's got to change. You can't change the system unless you're willing to totally disrupt it. You want the NFL pay system to change? You want more power? You got to be willing to disrupt it and say, hey, y'all can't do anything without us. And I do think your point is right. It starts with quarterbacks. If quarterbacks said, yo, you know what? We're eating here, because they're the position that's definitely
especially eating. A dude like Aaron Rodgers, who I could actually picture doing that.
Yeah, but he just got paid, so he's okay.
Well, no, but he speak out on behalf of other players. You know what I'm saying? Like,
speaking out is one thing. Standing up and saying, yo, I'm willing to sit out and not work is a whole different thing.
That's true.
You're now taking it to a whole nother level.
For example, if Jordy Nelson was still Jordy Nelson, but like, let's just use him as an example. If he was still Jordy Nelson and he had a contract situation coming up, and then Aaron Rodgers comes out and says, oh, I'm not playing unless that's taken care of. Like, if he has a top flight receiver where he can fight for him, then maybe you'll start to see some things done. That using that as an example, like a little starting point, so to speak.
There's a lot. I just want to know what the players would be willing to stand on and give up, and that they think the owners might have to come and compromise on. Because one thing we know is, I feel like an NFL strike would be fascinating because people love football in this country, and you know what people don't want to see? Replacement players.
Yeah.
Remember the replacement refs a couple years ago?
Wow, actually.
And remember that Seattle Green Bay game, and there was a bad call at the end of the game.
All you need to know is,
and that was like, you got to change that.
I remember that. All you need to know about replacement players is this. Basically, what you'll see is the Alliance of American Football. Those players, you're going to see that in the NFL. Or it'd be the equivalent of, and no disrespect, because I respect the hell out of these dudes, G League players, but there's a reason they're in the G League. It'd be like seeing that at the NBA level.
They're still better. Even the G League level.
Oh, absolutely.
Is not as bad as what replacement players
it's harder to make the NBA than it is the NFL.
Yeah.
Numerically, it's way harder.
Yeah. It's still won't be as bad. I think things could shift. I think how other players treat things like franchise. It's not more about the being traded like Antonio Brown. I think how players treat the franchise tag going forward.
Yeah.
And holding
that gives all the owners that gives all the organizations the power.
And I'll tell you what, the people who like, oh, these players shouldn't hold out for contracts and stuff like that in training camp. Shut up. Shut up. Yeah. Shut up. Shut up. Look, if I have a limited amount of time to play a sport, and I'm playing a very violent sport where I can get injured and anything can happen, and I'm in the last year of my deal, people are like, oh, well, he signed that contract. Oh, well, you guys can do things like franchise tag people. Yep. I think I said this on the
cut you because contracts are not. See, that's the other thing.
Not guaranteed.
Non-guaranteed. They're looking at NBA players and baseball players like, God damn.
Yeah.
You know, like, this is great. That's why people think Kyler Murray's bugging for trying to go for football. But he's a quarterback.
Look, I understand why football is such a high risk and they don't have these guaranteed contracts. I understand that.
Yeah.
And I understand the risk it would take for the owners.
But you got to understand the other side of it.
Right. And so, but that's why I'm never going to be mad at a player trying to get as much money as he can. What I always find interesting in this conversation is this country, if you look at historically through labor situations, has always been pro-worker, right? Just go back and look anything.
And in sports especially, which is blasphemous.
Right. But so then you have to ask yourself is, why is it that people tend to be upset at these NFL players that want to hold out, or these NBA players like Anthony Davis that want to try to say, hey, this team isn't done right by me. I'm trying to get out.
They essentially want to control their future.
Right.
Yeah.
What's the problem there? The problem is in both of those leagues, the majority of those players are black.
Yeah.
And so what that says to me is maybe you people who always be like, oh, right, pro-labor rights, pro-worker rights, pro-working class people, you just don't like the people who are making a bunch of money and how they look. That's the problem. Those folks don't want to admit it. They just don't like who's making the money and trying to make the terms of how they want to make their money.
This is why if any NBA rookie coming in this season, Zion Williamson, RJ Barrett, Jarrett Culver, Bol, anybody, if they came out and said, I don't want to play for the Phoenix Suns, I would have no problem with that. Yeah. None whatsoever. Because ownership clearly doesn't know what they're doing, and there's a lot of dysfunction there. Like, I'm just using them as an example. If they came out and said, I don't want to play for the Cavs, I don't want to play for this team, the Knicks, whoever, I would not mind that at all, because I feel like the draft, we kind of don't need it. We still have it because it's always been there.
Yes.
And people are fearful of that. Oh, if there was no draft, then everybody's going to go to this team or everybody's going to go to that team. But that's not going to happen.
Not a salary cap.
That's a whole bigger discussion for a future podcast that we're going to have.
Yeah, and I want to have discussion because I used to always turn around and be like, some people brought up to me, there should be no more draft. In fact, my fiance's brother, she was like, why do we have a draft?
Let me say that I'm thoroughly entertained by the draft. But I recognize we don't really need it. And I wouldn't be bothered about it regardless.
I'm at the point now.
If there was a player, if there was like a free agency pool for rookies, that should probably be the way. But we're not.
I am at the point now in my sports watching where I'm like, there's no need for drafts anymore.
None.
We need to get rid of it. All sports, there's no need for drafts anymore. If you want a league like NBA that still has a cap, you can still. If you can fit somebody in under your cap and they want to play for you, good. Why are we okay with any other place? I can choose where I want to work. You can.
That's what I was gonna say. Imagine you just graduate college.
Yeah.
You have a degree, and then you have to enter. If you want to be like a journalist, for example, let's use our background, right?
Yeah.
And you have to enter yourself into a pool Like, oh, damn. Like, I could only imagine if I left college and was like, what if I got drafted to work in Salt Lake City? I'm Puerto Rican. What am I going to do in Utah?
Be Puerto Rican.
like, I mean,
that's not even.
There ain't no rice and beans and pork out there for me. You know what I'm saying?
There's pork, but you're gonna be among the Mormon community. It's probably not gonna embrace it as much. There's worse places you could be working in Salt Lake City, Utah. Trust me, I don't even think that's where you're gonna go. There's a lot worse places. You could be in some small towns.
Memphis got barbecue, man.
Memphis is not even a worse. You could be on some small paper. You could be drafted by any paper.
Oh man,
those are actually reasonable cities.
The Algonquin Times.
There you go. There you go. Yeah. What if you were drafted by?
Disrespect. But imagine. Well, first of all, I think I'm going in the first round. Let me just say that. All right. So I don't think I'm going to the Algonquin Times. Yeah. But still, first round could be like Salt Lake Tribune. You know what I'm saying?
But your point is well taken.
What if I go? We talked about Florida on this podcast. What if I go to Tallahassee? Oh man,
that's tough.
Tallahassee Times,
Jacksonville.
It will be me. It'll be me covering Florida Man. That's another thing. They will tell you what to cover. Because in some instances, people change your position, or people tell you like, you got to fill this role. So it's like,
well, here's the thing: why are we okay with this? Everybody else gets to choose where they want to work.
That's we're having fun, but that's the essence of what we're saying. Why are we okay? You would you wouldn't even have to leave college, but let's say you left college or whatever. Like just in whatever line of work you're trying to pursue, you have to enter a draft, and then you may go undrafted, and then it's like you have to do something else. I don't know, but at the same time, it's like. The thought of trying to enter yourself into a draft pool is kind of ridiculous, but we've been doing it in pro sports for years, so it's one of those things that people just accept because it's been that way. And I continue to say that just because things have been the way they have been, we don't mean we have to accept it.
The whole drafting thing it's kind of slavish too. There's another part. Right. I'll get into that too. This is for a deeper discussion. It's kind of slavish. And for the people, like I said, a lot of people in this country super pro labor, except when it comes to certain sports and certain people playing these sports.
Yeah.
And I think we do need to reevaluate how we are bringing players to teams, how we are giving people opportunities with teams. This is why I'm more in support of academies and bringing people in through that, and
soccer
having a minor league system.
Yeah.
To some degree, baseball gets it to some degree. And bringing people into that and actually integrating a culture and having people really develop skills instead of being like, yo, you're going to go here because this team is the worst record. We got to have a whole draft episode.
Right. And again, I get it. It's fun TV. It does make for fun, dramatic TV, but then you're thinking about it like, yo, these are 18-year-olds, 19-year-olds, and their lives are being like literally altered with a selection on a note card, and that whole thing.
And then people have things like the combines,
and then there's instant analysis on how they're gonna do and draft grades and things like that. Like, subject yourself to that and put yourself in that position. Imagine if there were a draft, like if you got drafted 28th overall in the journalist draft or something like that. Not you, Dexter, because you would be first overall pick.
I don't know.
But what I'm saying.
I don't know about that.
But what I'm saying is, like, if you went 28th overall and then people are like analyzing you right after, like, oh, this person, I'm not sure how he's gonna fare in Utah. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's gonna be a struggle for Bryan out there to adjust.
Like, just imagine. I think I'm sicko, so I think I would actually enjoy it a little bit. You know what I mean?
I'd have fun with it.
Like, that's what I'm saying. I think I'd have fun with it.
I don't know how much fun they would have with me, but I'd have fun with them.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, it'd probably be like in some weird, twisted way a little bit fun, but then at the end of the day, you're not controlling your own situation, and you should, at least on some level, have control of your own situation.
To some degree. Look, and that doesn't mean, just want to be clear, that doesn't mean there aren't jobs where people have contracts. People have contracts are regular jobs.
Right, like it's not like you shouldn't not have a boss. Right. Like, in some instances, it's actually very beneficial. Like, I've worked with people who are quote unquote above me, if you want to say that, but they've given me good guidance and things like that.
But the thing is, you should be able to choose where you want to work just like anybody else. And athletes should have that too. They shouldn't be told, hey, you got drafted by this team, you got to go there. The draft is just very archaic. As I said before, it's very slavish. And, we have to understand, there's some people that still long for those times. So this is why they don't want that. They don't want that to change.
There's a reason Muhammad Ali was like, nah, and actually went to jail. To fight. To fight for this cause.
Drafting for the war, drafting for this.
There's a reason we don't do that anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we still do it in sports.
But we still do it in sports.
Stupid.
For our own entertainment.
Stupid. There are going to be some people out here and be like, why you guys hating on the draft? It's very exciting. Is it though?
No, we're going to revisit. You know what? We'll revisit this in April before the NFL draft. We will revisit this again probably before the NBA draft because that one will actually be a little more plugged into. Me especially because I'm covering the draft again.
I mean, I enjoy it. I'm just saying that
it even feels weird to say the draft.
Here's the thing. There could still be a whole, if the process, we'll get into more of the theories of what we think should work and shouldn't work.
Yeah.
But there could still be a whole selection show and people would still tune into it and it still would be exciting. I just say we don't need the draft. When I say selection, you're doing a show about who's telling you where they're going. How dope would that be?
Yeah.
Imagine I'm sitting here this year and there's no draft and I got to sit and wait nervously. There's no lottery. And I got to wait to see if Zion Williamson is going to say if he wants to play for my team.
Yeah.
Probably would say no, and then I'll be heartbroken.
It would essentially be free agency for rookies again.
That'd be dope.
Which would be good. I mean, you probably still want to put like a rookie wage scale or something like that, like that the league has. So that
I'm fine with that, but they should still choose where they want to go.
I'm not mad at the rookie wage scale because like the rookie contracts were out of hand at one point, and I remember in the NFL, God, you remember Mario Williams?
Yeah,
those contracts, like sometimes it gets out of hand, but for Zion Williamson, he might actually be worth that. And RJ Barrett too, and John Moran too, actually. But at the end of the day,
if somebody's willing to pay,
they should have control over where they.
I agree with that.
Real quick, because Lakers now they're blowing it up.
Oh my God!
And we thought that they were going to make the playoffs.
I
prayers for Brandon Ingram. First of all, because that's a serious thing that they found a blood clot in his shoulder.
Yeah, and the condition where he's having pain, where he's lifting up his shoulder, so he's now out for the season. LeVar
That's
Ball.
tough. He's mad. He's like 20, maybe.
Yeah, I'm glad they may have caught this early though, so this might be good.
I heard that they did, but he needs to be careful.
Lonzo Ball will be out for the season. The Lakers
tank mode. Kyle Kuzma's injured.
Is injured. Hurt me in fantasy.
Listen, I have LeBron James on my fantasy team. I'm probably cooked. I might be done.
I still think he's going to play.
I don't think
minutes.
I don't.
The Lakers.
I'm the third seed, man.
I think
I have enough depth, but I don't know. I might be done.
I think that the potential trades for Anthony Davis rocked the team. I think those young guys did not know what was going. I think that really rocked the team. I don't blame the Lakers for trying to trade for Anthony Davis. I also think those dudes need to be a little bit more professional. That
was managed
but it's
very
hard.
poorly.
I don't know.
But you know what? I don't blame them.
I don't know who could do anything about it. Players are professionals.
I've been in a situation though where I've sort of mentally checked out. You know what I mean, of a place, and then my work just kind of slipped. But I wasn't getting traded or anything like that. That's another thing.
But you got to be a professional,
right? That's at the end of the day, you do. So,
ain't nobody trying to hear that. And let's be honest, when people are watching these guys get paid millions of dollars, and you're to do a job, which I'm not saying that human emotion doesn't come into that. I understand all that.
That's all I'm trying to say.
I'm still saying you got to be a professional.
It is different though, especially. I mean, look, you're
young. It's tough when you're young,
and you're in the NBA. You're at a level where there's always the guy right behind you trying to come for what you have. But in the NBA, especially. I mean, come on. We were just talking about how difficult it is to get in that league. They just added 2 more slots with two-way players, so now it's 17 players a team. But you're talking about 470, not even 500 players in the NBA.
Yeah,
like those are very coveted spots.
I understand the stress. I get all that, and I think it's tough for young dudes. And I'm not here to make excuses for them. I'm just saying I understand, but also understand you have to be a professional. And I do think that affected the team. I don't think this. I want to be clear. I don't think this is an indictment on LeBron. LeBron played great. LeBron played great before he got hurt. Him getting hurt is a huge factor in this too. I don't think this hurts LeBron's legacy. People just want to say, people want to say that just for a stupid discussion. It's stupid.
Remember what I said? I didn't like him going to the Lakers. I thought it was a corny move, and I'm not gonna say this is vindication because that would be kind of silly on my part. I just want to say him going to the Lakers, it looks less and less like a basketball move than ever. I'm not sure it ever was a basketball move, but it looks more and more like he's just trying to set up his post-basketball, or I'd say his current career too, but his other career outside of basketball.
I mean, maybe, but I'll tell you what.
I don't know if he'll ever win a championship again. I really don't.
He may not. If he doesn't win the Lakers, I think that will be disappointing. But here's the thing about the Lakers, man. And I said this to my boy last night. We were talking. He's a huge Laker fan. And I said, look, the management has to take some heat too.
Yeah, absolutely.
The Lakers have had 3 out of the last 4 number 2 picks in the draft. And which one of them is a star?
I mean, you would hope Ingram could be, but he ain't yet. Now he has this, which you can't account for.
Well, one has turned into a star, but he's no longer with the team.
Oh, well.
Now,
D'Angelo Russell.
here's the thing with that.
Shout out to our Nets fan listeners.
Here's the thing with that. It's not that I killed the Lakers for making that trade. I think it was a good trade for both teams. The Lakers need to get off some space for a bad signing, which I'll kill them for that.
What they should have did was kept Brook Lopez, though.
That's another story, too.
Yeah.
They didn't sign Brook Lopez this offseason. To get to that, they signed Michael Beasley for the same amount of money. So a guy who can help spread the floor. So that's a bad. My point is,
the
Lakers,
Chinese Basketball Association's Michael Beasley, by the way.
Yes. Now, Lakers management has. You got to kind of give them some stuff where they haven't done a great job. This is not me saying I don't like. I actually like Brandon Ingram, and I think he could still be a star. Lonzo Ball has been okay at best.
Yeah.
D'Angelo Russell has eventually developed into a star, but he's no longer with your team, and you had to trade him because of a previous bad signing that you had made, and you had to get money off of that.
Julius Randle also. First, it was a lottery pick.
Lottery set number 7, who I liked coming out of college too. I've actually liked all of their picks. I don't think their picks are bad. They also got Kuzma late in the first round, which looks like a really good pick.
Yeah, they've made some.
My point is, they don't have a guy. There's no way in the team you could say next to LeBron, bona fide second star. I'm confident in that. You can't say that. I think Ingram could be there, but he's not there yet.
And if you're another star, would you really want to play there because of the pressure? Like, I get playing with LeBron could be great, but like everything else is going on there, man. I just don't know. I don't know. And I saw Bobby Marks. No, not Bobby Marks. Bobby Marks did say this, but Jeff Van Gundy also said it. It's like, if I'm the Lakers, everything's on the table.
I would think,
I agree,
including thinking about trading LeBron.
Yes, I agree.
I heard Jeff Van Gundy say this, but
he has a no trade clause.
No, he does not.
Really?
No.
Oh, get him out of here then. Like, I probably would.
We talked about this when Jose was up.
I no longer think that LeBron James is the best player in the NBA.
I think that's probably fair.
This season changed my mind. He was last year. But after this season, I'm like, look, he's still great and still playing at a high level. And he's still top 2, maybe top 3, whatever. But I'm just saying, like, he's not getting younger. He just had his first real serious injury in a long time.
But do you think the Lakers will actually do this?
No.
Not
this season. If they have another bad year, maybe.
I don't think
Space Jam's coming out.
I don't think that Jeff Van Gundy's point is wrong, and I think that it also will go back to something else you could talk about with Laker management. Maybe they should have had a little bit more faith and let their young core develop, because once you brought LeBron to his core, which was to my boy, it was a legit concern about him before they signed LeBron.
Yes.
Legit concern. He was like, yo, I hope this doesn't mess with the young dudes, because there's going to be a lot of pressure on them now, and they were kind of ascending and going up to 35 wins. And I'm still saying this year they were good on Christmas Day. They were playing great.
Yeah, they were the 4 seed at one point.
Right, with LeBron, they beat Golden State, and LeBron got hurt. I do think LeBron's injury, combined with the Anthony Davis talk, had a lot to do with that. I think if LeBron was healthy, I still think they would have been fine.
Let me just say this real quick, because
so that's why I don't want to blame him. Put it all on them.
Let me just say this real quick, because
we gotta go.
We're really limited on time. We got to get to numbers. I have a LeBron to New York theory that I've touched on. And I'm just saying, if you're going to trade him, the place that would help his legacy the most to win a championship, it's kind of here. It's kind of New York City.
I'm good.
Kind of with the Knicks.
I don't know. I'm kind of good.
He could also play with the Nets, and that would make a lot of sense.
I think the Knicks need to not do what the Lakers do and trust their young core and just stick with it.
LeBron's to New York City. Make it happen.
Stop it. Just stop it. All right.
Selfishly, that would help me out a lot.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
No, I'm okay. I'm okay. All right. 68, looking at this list, not that great.
Not great, but an obvious choice. So we won't start there.
Obvious.
Jeff McNeil, your boy.
I like Jeff McNeil.
Dylan Betances. I think he went to Grand Street campus.
Brooklyn guy.
That's right. Richie Incognito.
Hell no.
I just did that to play around. Kyle Turley.
Nope.
Is also problematic. Will Shields. Very good offensive lineman for a long time. And Kevin Mawai,
center for
long
the Jets.
time Jet. That's why I'm like, this choice is obvious for me personally.
Oh man, I'm a Dylan Betances fan too, even though I'm not a Yankee fan. I do like him.
I mean, look, with me, I don't really have a strong opinion here.
I gotta go with Mawai though.
But that's what I'm saying.
Hall of Famer.
Listen, let me say this, Kevin Mawai, thank you. because all those years of Madden, you really helped me out protecting
Chad Pennington from getting injured,
and also Michael Vick when I made that Chad Pennington and a draft pick for Michael Vick trade at NFL 2K5, the greatest football game ever.
It always has to come back to some video game with you.
But that's what I'm saying. Kevin Mawai really helped me out.
Who did that?
I had the Atlanta Falcons. Oh. I had a stable offensive line, and it all started at the center position. Thank you, Kevin Mawai, for all those years of protecting me in video games.
Thank you, video games, for becoming smarter with trades, because that would be auto-rejected today. That is...
Well, no, that was Chad Pennington when he had... Look, Chad Pennington had 87...
No,
hold on. Let me tell you. Chad Pennington, you're right. But hold on.
No, it doesn't matter that trade is stupid.
Chad Pennington...
At that time.
But here's the thing. Chad Pennington had an 87 overall. Michael Vick had a 90. This was Madden 2005 Michael Vick, right? So this was the year after he was on the cover. So he was injured. So his overall went down a little bit, came back, whatever. And Chad Pennington, this is when he was at his peak with the Jets. So I threw in a draft pick there.
He just came off of an AFC championship.
I threw in a draft pick there, and then it happened. But here's the thing. They would have won that trade because Michael Vick had a dogfighting thing right after that.
I mean, it doesn't matter. It's still
you know
stupid.
What I'm saying? Like, they had a dogfighting thing right after that. And then Chad Pennington was actually pretty good with the Dolphins. He got hurt, but he was pretty good with the Dolphins.
What'd
he was
you just
like
say?
Comeback player of the year or something.
Chad Pennington got hurt.
Michael Vick got arrested.
So both people still.
Granted, he came back and was good.
You know what's equal? Both people still ain't playing.
Right, but that was a long time ago, though.
I know, but I'm just saying, at that time and what happened, both people still weren't on the field.
So it wouldn't have been a great trade regardless.
That's right, that's my point.
But the trade could have still went through.
That would have been stupid. It would have got ripped. Oh, my God, that would have been stupid. All right, that's it for this episode.
I wanted a scrambling quarterback. I can't be having pocket passes in video games, man.
All right, that's it for this episode of AHTT Podcast. We got to go. Thank you for listening. Be sure, do your thing. Subscribe to the podcast. Leave us a rating.
Patreon.
Also support us on Patreon. We appreciate the support as usual. Until next time, we got more stuff coming up this month with March. A lot of women we'll have in here for Women's History Month. So a lot of our guests will be women. Be sure to check us out. Continue to support, subscribe, do all the things.
And R. Kelly and Jussie Smollett. Yes, we haven't forgot about that.
That will be a topic we will discuss. Until next time, peace, y'all.